Hello everyone, welcome to another video. I'm Randy, and this is the 12th in my series where I go through each year from 1950 on and tell you my favorite album, my favorite song, my favorite movie, and my favorite television show with some runners up. We're now at 1961. One caveat I have to say, as I've said before, I have to have a physical copy in order to pick it. And with the television series, they are only eligible their debut season. So with that said, let's get on with it. And from 1961, my third runner-up for album of the year, or my favorite album, is Frank Sinatra's Come Swing With Me. This is my MoFi copy. And there you can see the label. It was on Capitol when it came out. He was working with Billy May, but without the strings, and this time featuring heavy brass. This is kind of a unique Sinatra album. Highlights include Day by Day, On the Sunny Side of the Street, Almost Like Being in Love, and still has that Sinatra swagger, though. My second runner-up, Roy Orbison sings Lonely and Blue. There's a picture of young Roy right there. And he was on the Monument label. This is a reissue. This is Roy's debut album, released on Monument after he left Sun Records. He has some great moments on this, including Only the Lonely, Blue Angel, I'll Say It's My Fault, which he had a hand in writing. And I'll Say It's My Fault also has a nice Boots Randolph sax break. Come Back to Me, My Love is another highlight, kind of with his haunting voice. Roy Orbison, Lonely and Blue, my second runner-up. My first runner-up, one of my favorite voices, it's Jerry Butler. Aware of Love is the name of the album. There you can see the tunes on the back. And he's on the VJ label. This was what he did his best stuff. It was on VJ. The Iceman of Soul music with his impressive third album. Mostly, it's great for the songs that he wrote with his Impressions bandmate, Curtis Mayfield. In particular, I'm Telling You, Find Another Girl, When Trouble Calls. He also does a couple of fine Brooke Benton covers as well. But yeah, great album. Jerry Butler, fantastic voice. My favorite album from 1961, Two Steps from the Blues, Bobby Blue Bland. There he is right there on the cover. There's the songs on there. He was on the MCA label. 1961 has one of my all-time favorite albums in Two Steps from the Blues, the debut album by blues crooner Bobby Blue Bland. He has an amazing, expressive voice, and this is a great collection of songs and the amazing guitar skills of Wayne Bennett. It is one of the most soulful blues albums ever, with a great title track, the plaintive ballad Lead Me On, and one of his signature tunes in I Pity the Fool. But for me, it's the haunting standard St. James Infirmary that leaves the biggest impression. Yeah, Two Steps from the Blues. Check it out. Now for my favorite song of 1961, the fourth runner-up from Patsy Cline. It's the song Crazy. And somewhere on here, yeah, number 14 there. All I have is on CD for this song, but it's an all-time classic song written by Willie Nelson and made a standard by Patsy Cline. It is still played at wedding receptions, parties, and late-night bar sessions whenever there is a need of a slow dance. I think I read where it's the record that has the record for the most played song on jukeboxes, if I could talk here. But yeah, Crazy, Patsy Cline. Third runner-up, It Will Stand by The Showmen. They were on Minute Records. This is Minute Records 1960-1963. They entitle it "It Will Stand," and it's the second song on here by The Showmen. This is a song that champions the joys of rock and roll music, sung by a New Orleans-based R&B group that were on Minute Records, like I showed you. However, they were originally from Norfolk, Virginia. The song was written by Norman Johnson, who formed the group and called himself General Norman Johnson. He would later create the group chairman of the board, and they had a hit with "Give Me Just a Little More Time." And this was an EMI reissue of the Minute Records label songs. But yeah, some great tunes on here by Jesse Hill, Irma Thomas, Benny Spellman, who's the guy that did the original Fortune Teller, I think. Also Mother-in-Law, Ernie K. Doe. But yeah, some great songs from the Minute Record label. Second runner-up from Gene Chandler. This is a compilation album, Just Be True, on the Charlie label. And it's his song, The Duke of Earl, or Duke of Earl. Gene Chandler's biggest hit, and subsequently he dubbed himself the Duke of Earl. And he had a 1962 album of the same name, which I could have shown, I guess. But the song was written by Bernice Williams, Earl Edwards, and Chandler. It was recorded with his group, the Duquesnes, but included on his solo album. The song includes Kermit Chandler of the Shepherds, who I've shown before on guitar. He was a great guitarist. But yeah, the Duquesnes, actually, but with Gene Chandler, Duke of Earl. My first runner-up comes from an album I showed. That's Jerry Butler's Aware of Love. And it's the song, the third one on here, When Trouble Calls. This was the B-side of the single Find Another Girl, which was another great tune. But it has Butler's great soulful vocals with about the bumps in the road that a couple will have after they get married. I just love the singing on this one, his phrasing, how he puts in a laugh on one of the verses. But the song was written by Butler and Curtis Mayfield, and just a great tune. Most of his VJ work is really good. And my favorite song of 1961, off another album I showed, from Two Steps from the Blues, and it's the song, the standard St. James Infirmary, off this classic debut album. This is one of my all-time great vocal performances. The melancholy just oozes out of Bland's emotive vocals. The song originated as an American folk tune, sometimes called Gambler's Blues. It is a standard that has been attributed to several different writers over the years. Louis Armstrong had a famous early version. The story concerns a man mourning the death of his beloved, but in the end, he boasts, "She'll never find a man like me." But yeah, great tune. Check it out, Bobby Blue Bland. And I will put links below to the songs and numbers off the albums that I choose as well. And now to my favorite movie from 1961. I've, of course, left off a couple of really classic movies, but I didn't have them, so I guess maybe they aren't my favorites because I never did buy it, and I guess I don't watch it that often. But these are ones that I have and ones that I do watch quite a bit, so they're going to be my top ones. So my third runner-up for my favorite movie from 1961 is, I got it in this Hammer Horror Collection, and it's The Curse of the Werewolf. See a picture there. Also inside, you can see on the second one there, Curse of the Werewolf. One of the directorial stars of Hammer films was Terence Fisher, and he turns out Hammer's only werewolf film in this one. This also has Oliver Reed in his first major role as the man with the beast inside, and much like Frankenstein's monster, a tragic figure. Yeah. What is that again? Curse of the Werewolf. Good Hammer film. My second runner-up from this Doris Day and Rock Hudson collection, it's Lover Come Back. You can see it there. But I'll admit that I have a soft spot for the Doris Day Rock Hudson comedies. And in this one, they are competing advertising executives with Rock Hudson getting stuck promoting a product that doesn't yet exist called VIP. These are always had some, they also always had some great character actors in it. And this one had Tony Randall, of course, of The Odd Couple, you know him from TV. Jack Crucian, if you've seen The Apartment, he's the doctor that lives next door. Joe Flynn, who was in McHale's Navy, and Jack Albertson, Chico and the Man, just some great character actors in this, and just a fun Rock Hudson Doris Day movie, Lover Come Back. My first runner-up from the Samuel Fuller collection. It's the movie Underworld USA. There, you can kind of see it on the bottom right there. But written, directed, and produced by Sam Fuller. This is a tale of revenge with Cliff Robertson bent on finding those responsible for killing his father. The movie can be brutal and shocking, especially for 1961. Fuller liked to jar the viewer through camera movement and cutting, besides the action as well. It's the fine crime noir picture, Underworld, USA. My first runner-up. And before I say my favorite movie of 1961, I just want to plug Brian Massey, Massey's Main Entertainment channel. We just got through doing our top 100 movies of all time. Right now on the channel is our number 20 to number 10, or 11, I guess. And then next week, our top 10, you can see our top 10 movies with Rich Strickler, Doc, and Brian Massey. We all pick our favorite movies of all time. You might go and check that out. But anyway, so 1961, my favorite movie is Breakfast at Tiffany's from Blake Edwards. There's Audrey Hepburn there. Audrey Hepburn is fantastic as Holly Golightly, even though the character was somewhat different in Truman Capote's novella, and not really the choice that he had in mind, but she becomes a charming force of nature and a fashion icon with this movie. Also, we get a great Henry Mancini score, and the only unfortunate thing is the casting of Mickey Rooney as the frustrated Japanese neighbor. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. But just a great movie. Audrey Hepburn's performance is great in this one. And now to my favorite television show of 1961. First, I'd like to say it didn't quite make my list, but Audie Murphy actually did a Western called Whispering Smith. I think it only lasted one season. But yeah, great war hero, Audie Murphy, did a lot of Westerns, and he did actually have a series on television for a little while. But anyway, my third runner-up is the television series Way Out. This has 10 episodes on this one here. This series is very similar to The Twilight Zone with sci-fi horror episodes that also included some very dark humor. The show was hosted by British author Roald Dahl, known for writing quite a few macabre short stories. You can find some episodes on YouTube. It only lasted one season and 14 episodes, but yeah, Way Out, really interesting series. My second runner-up is Frontier Circus. This was really a unique Western in that it centered around a traveling circus in the Old West. It starred Western veteran Chill Wills. You may know him as the voice of Francis the Talking Mule. Also had John Derrick, Bo Derrick's husband, and Richard Jackal right there. Just a little, maybe it was a little too different as it only lasted one season. I just recently watched an episode on here, and it had Elizabeth Montgomery, of course, before Bewitched fame, as she was running away from an abusive husband. The episode was directed by Sidney Pollack, who also was later known for directing Tootsie, 3 Days of the Condor, Out of Africa. So that's what's kind of cool about a lot of these old television series, that you see people that later become more famous, and a lot of great character actors as well. But yeah. Frontier Circus, my second runner-up. These top two series from 1961 are just great series. My first runner-up is The Avengers. It's the story of Jack Steed, played by Patrick Macnee, right there. And he worked with several partners, the most notable being Diana Rigg, that's here. He also did episodes with Honor Blackman. That was very good as well. But, my favorites are going to be the ones with Diana Rigg. As Emma Peel, Honor Blackman was Kathy Gale. There were a lot of innovative storylines with several of a science fiction nature. John Steed and especially Emma Peel were the ultimate in style and coolness. Yeah, just a great British series, The Avengers. And my favorite television show from 1961 is the Dick Van Dyke Show. You can kind of see him falling over the ottoman there. I think in later seasons he kind of jumped around it. This is the first season. I have all the seasons on DVD, but Dick Van Dyke stars as television writer Rob Petrie, writing for the Alan Brady Show. Alan Brady was played by Carl Reiner. The rest of the cast were hilarious as well, with Rosemarie, Maury Amsterdam. There's Rosemarie and Maury Amsterdam. I don't know if you can see with this kind of thing, but anyway. And Richard Deacon was also great in this. But Mary Tyler Moore is the standout, who worked so well with Dick Van Dyke as her husband. I think that the funniest episode ever on TV may be their episode, That's My Boy. I think it was in season 3, not in this season, where Dick Van Dyke's character relates how he believed that they took the wrong child home from the hospital when they had their little boy. But yeah, watch that. That's My Boy. I think one of the funniest episodes ever on television. And my favorite TV show, The Dick Van Dyke Show. And that's it for 1961. I would love to see your picks on there for any of these categories. I always like discovering new albums, songs, TV shows, or movies. And hope everyone's doing well. And see you in 1962.